Yo, what's up guys? Brendan Wolf here, bringing you another video. This is something that's been brought up in Twitch chat a few times, and I thought that it would be a really good idea for a video, and it's just team fighting on Fiora, a 101, a guide, or even just like my thought process. So we're going to jump into a few games, a few different team fights, and just talk about them basically. So obviously we're looking at this, right? So this is just straight up 5v5. Kennen's a little late. Ezreal's down here. We've already started the dragon, and the gold is quite even. So this is a game where this fight, if it turns out to be a 5v5, could be the game winner, the game changer, essentially. So we're kind of going to slow it down and just watch our point of view here, just for a little bit. So ideally, even before the fight starts, what's going to happen? We've got Amumu and Kennen, right? Amumu and Kennen want to try to set up CC for their team to be able to do damage. Riven is pretty weak, and that's something that we can look at. So she can't really go in and do too much burst damage, but she still is like a threat, right? But their main priority source of damage is actually going to be more poking from Ezreal in the backline. He wants to stay away while these guys just pump out CC, and he wants to do a lot of damage. So he's going to be one of our biggest priorities is to get Ezreal out of the fight. Ezreal and Pyke, I really want them gone, right? So let's just watch this in a little bit of slow motion and see what happens. So I know that we're starting this. We get off of the dragon. And then this is where it becomes a 5v5, because we probably could have forced it and just gone for it, and it would have been fine. But now that we've stalled it out, now we have a little bit of an issue. So me as Fiora, and being as strong as I am here, 2.5 items, I really need to make sure that I set myself in a position where I do not get caught into any CC, because the biggest thing is going to be that I want to save my parry. Now, if I go into the dragon pit like this, while they might set up a fight like this, that gives me the opportunity to actually go over the dragon wall and look for a flank. So I've said this before, that you're playing Fiora, you're playing her in sandbox mode, it's like playing creative mode. I can do anything that I want. These are my sheep, I'm the shepherd. I want to put them and guide them where I want them to be, herd them essentially, right? So by me being off vision, which they do have vision here, which I was not aware of, by me being off vision though, they don't know where I can come from. But also just me being in the dragon pit adds a lot more fighting power to me. Now, this also is the same concept if I was over here on the blue wall and I could go over this wall with my Q and also set up for some sort of flank play. But we're going to see how this plays out, and I'm pretty sure these were games from yesterday. Now, Ezreal gets in and gets a nice flash. I mean, this is a huge ult, and this is going to lead into a Kennen ult. Now, notice, I'm not going to react to this because I can see where the majority of them are. I know that he just flashed in. We saw Ezreal a moment ago, and he was on the bot wave, and I know that he hasn't made it all the way over here. So Amumu is getting the engage started, but I don't really need to worry too much about him. So I'm kind of staying, and I'm waiting to see how the fight goes. Now, Kennen's going to go in, and now notice I'm going to stay completely away from this fight. So I'm letting them do the double here. Amumu gets a huge stun, and then Kennen comes in and gets a huge stun. That's got nothing to do with me in this fight, right? In this fight particularly, I've got Samira who's going to stay alive, right? Lifesteal. I've got Lifesteal on Viego. I know that he's going to stay alive as well. Rakan, once he gets unstunned, can do a lot of disengage with his ulti. So we're more pressing the tab button. We're more understanding our team comp and realizing that this isn't enough to kill our team. The Amumu and the Kennen. This is not enough. This is enough to scare us away, maybe get a pick, and we have to back away. But it's not enough to win the fight. So what I'm looking for is what Diana's looking for as well, the Ezreal. So I'm staying away from the CC, queuing over the wall here, taking out the Ezreal. But notice, stayed away from the fight, stayed away from the CC, ignored it entirely, went over the wall here, went for the Ezreal, and now we come back into the fight. Which, like I said, the engage that they had was probably going to lead to a pick. So Viego dies, and Diana dies trying to go in, but Diana's pretty weak, so she's 3 and 8. And now we kind of just clean up. So we're going to look for the easiest to kill targets now, right? Which is going to be Kennen and Pyke. Those are going to be the two easiest. So Kennen's right in front of me. I'm looking to obviously be more patient, go for vitals, right? So, boom. Gone, and then I still have not used my parry. I've kept my parry the whole time, which is another thing I talk about a lot is parry discipline, right? So we hold our parry until we can actually get a stun off of it, which is what we do. So we'll just watch the fight from up here, and we'll just watch it from real time so you can see like the thought process and how the fight actually played out. Double engage into me coming over the wall, ignored everything, waited until Ezreal showed himself, got over the wall, finished that kill, made sure he was gone, and then they lose most of their damage. And we're able to stay alive and finish up this fight. Boom. And that's fight number 1. Now, I do want to make one thing known, by the way. In certain games, Fiora's going to be the only person that can kill the enemy if it's a huge tank. Whether that be Ornn, Cho'Gath, Sion, something like that. If your team does not have true damage, then you have to be the one to clear out that tank. So in this situation, if we pretend this was a Scion that R'd in instead, I have to completely change the way that I fight this fight. If this was a Scion who just R'd in and got like a 3, I have to be the one to kill him, right? I have to be the one to not go for the carries, but to actually go ahead and ult this guy, get the kill on him, because I'm the only one who can kill him fast enough, get the healing circle for my team, and then we get the heals, and then we reposition for the second stage of the fight. So that doesn't happen here in this game, but it's just something to think about when you have a mega tank that only you can kill. So now we're looking at the second team fight, and this one is a lot more interesting. So this is more, we win this fight and we end the game. This is just a 5v5, and they have to worry about super minions coming down middle, so it's a little bit scary. Also, Dragon's about to come up here, so they have to worry about that as well. So they kind of have to go for a force fight. Now I'm pretty low here, and I'm kind of just messing with them. And you'll notice something here is that once Xayah gets taken away from Rel, I know that I have my team collapsing. They're all on their way over here. I do have Annie here. I do have Pantheon here. And also, I'm very strong. So I know that even if I make a mistake, I should be able to use my mobility to get away. So kind of putting some pressure on Xayah, just kind of like poking her down. And Rel, it's kind of easy to tell. Like if Wukong was to come with Rel, you can actually see the line that's attached to her that stuns. So kind of pushing Xayah out. But notice what we're doing here, right? So we're basically forcing Xayah into this cut. We're forcing Xayah into this. This is where we want to fight, which it might seem like they want to fight there because they have Kennen, Wukong, and Katarina, which is perfect, right? But we have so much CC with Annie, Pantheon, Vayne, Sejuani, and we have such a lead that it doesn't matter. So if this was an even team fight, if we were like 55k to 55k, then yeah, this is the fight that we're looking for. But when we have this type of lead, we're trying to push them into like this small little area where they have nowhere to escape from, right? So we take Xayah down a bit, and we force her into this. But notice, I'm not going to walk back up into this fight. I'm not going to walk back up. I want to come from behind. So I want to use my mobility and actually get behind them here and then make a play. So even though my team is taking a lot of damage, Wukong's going in, Katarina's there, Kennen, a lot of things going on here, right? But I can come from behind and take out their damage source, like Xayah, or take out Katarina when she tries to run away, or Rel as has just engaged and now disengaging, right? So she's running away. So instead, I want to flank this team fight, come from behind, actually clean up these kills, and then the fight's over, right? No escape. They've got no chance to salvage anything like that. So we push them into the jungle. They really have no play here. We clean it up, and that's just an easy team fight. Now, it could have gone a lot worse, especially if they were ahead. But even if this was an even team fight, I still would have done the same thing. Still would have done the same thing by putting pressure here while my team is coming from river. And we cut off one avenue, 2 avenues. We have this. We wrap around, and then they're just stuck. They're just stuck in this little square. So it just ends up being a free team fight win. Even if they get away with very low HP while inhibitor's down, and we can just push right back in. So very good. So this team fight is a little bit different, right? This team fight, we can't even tell that a fight's about to happen. Everybody's pretty spread out all over the place. But this happens a lot, where a team fight just happens out of nowhere, and then you got a 5v5 that's going on. Everybody's alive, besides Twisted Fate, who can teleport in or ulti in. We do have Pantheon pretty far away, but he has R. But this is just a fight that just randomly happens, right? So this is a different outlook on it, a different scenario, different perspective on what we want to do for this fight. So obviously I catch Rengar out of place, so I want to go for the kill here. But he ults, can't really go anywhere, so I walk in. But this gives more time. So look, now I'm being collapsed on by Darius, by Rengar's already there, Zeri, and Thresh. They get the first initial move, while my team is going to respond and try and help me. But this is a little tough, so I need to kill this Rengar as fast as possible. Now, Baron spawns, actually. Baron spawns and actually moves me, which messes up my Q, so I'm unable to finish the kill. Now, my HP bar is pretty low, so I have to get out. But at least my team, I knew my team was coming from river, right? They were coming from mid lane, so I'm more postured towards the bottom side of the map. Or mid lane rather, so that I can run to them and escape, right? So I have to just go ahead and call it. She does finish the kill. I have to go ahead and call it. Instead of going back in on this, because what are we looking at here? We're looking at a Darius, right? And if he gets stacked up, if he gets his stacks and he gets an ulti, then he's 5 stack, and then he can just wipe this fight and clean it. But that doesn't mean that I'm done with the fight, right? So something that's really cool with Fiora, not a lot of champions can do this. Watch how we play this. So I'm actually going to run up, go help this Nidalee, but the guy flashes. I have 12 stacks of Conquer. This is the little things that matter, right? 12 stacks of Conquer. So I want to keep it rolling. I just got an E shield from Karma. I want to keep it rolling. Flash over the wall. finish this kill, keep my stacks up, and now I'm going to help Pantheon finish this kill before he gets 5 stacked and gets ulted, and then the fight is just over. So it's a little bit more fast thinking, but anybody can do it, really. When you go into something, and right, let's watch it in real time and just kind of talk about it, right? We're going to catch... We see Rengar come over. We're like, okay, I might be able to catch this guy. Let me take this blue buff first. And then Rengar's here. Boom. I don't know where anyone else is, so this is a little bit sketchy, right? But we get his ult out. We go for the kill. And then my HP bar is gone. Got to get out. Boom. Come back around. Flash over. And we keep the fight rolling, right? We keep the fight rolling. And another thing that I want you guys to realize about this fight right here, something really interesting, is... keep in mind, when do I parry? When do I parry here? This is what I see the biggest mistake when people team fight on Fiora. When do I parry here? When do I parry? Never. Because I don't need to. There's no point. And at any point, if I stop to parry... If I stop to parry in this moment, like let's say he ults me there and I stop to parry, that adds another second for Thresh to get set up, Zeri to get set up, and Darius to set up. If I was to parry that right there, I would die. If I was to use parry at any point during this, I would get slowed. I'd have to stand still, stationary for 0.75 seconds, and I would die, right? So seriously, parry discipline is going to be one of the biggest things when it comes to team fighting as well. There was no point for me to use parry here, so I just didn't use it. I didn't use it. There was nothing that I needed to use it for. So, and that's the third team fight. So these are all different styles of team fights, all different things. But really, you're looking to take out, obviously, you're only fighting front to back when there's a big tank that Fiora needs to kill. A big tank that Fiora needs to kill, that's the only real time that you're going to be fighting front to back, right? And then when you have huge carries, like, you know, the Ezreal in the first one, we want to get those carries out of the game. So if I'm able to use my mobility to get over Dragon Wall, get over Baron Wall, something like that, and create a new position and basically come from behind and flank the team fight and be able to take out their carries and then escape, reposition, come from another angle, that's what we're basically doing. We're bouncing all around, using our mobility to get over walls, be untargetable, get back into the fight when we're ready, play off our cooldowns, and be an absolute menace in team fights, essentially. So this is going to be team fight number 4, but this is completely different. This is something that I talked about in the split pushing guide, in the spread your lead guide, and a lot of videos, right? So this is where I'm actually pushing to cause pressure. So even prior, now I know this fight is kind of happening up here, and I'm all the way down here. I'm taking this tower. Somebody has to come back and respond to me. Somebody has to, right? Or it's going to be Ezreal, or it's going to be Lee Sin because they're dead. They're dead, and they have a choice. They either stop me or they run to Baron and they give up their base. So ideally, somebody's going to have to respond. So I'm really waiting for somebody to respond, and then I'm going to move for the fight. So I see Ezreal responds. Now Ezreal's out of the fight, but notice how I'm using my Q. I'm using my mobility to get across the map, and then I'm able to flank this fight. Renekton's trying to keep Baron up. My team has been pushed out. They're a little bit nervous. Lee Sin's on his way. But now, Ezreal, look how far back he is. He caught that wave. He had to clear it. And now we have this man advantage for this fight for at least 10 seconds before he gets here. Now he can throw his ulti and do a little bit of damage to us, but he's out of the fight. So we used split pushing to actually set up for a team fight. Now this is something that we're planning ahead, like 30 seconds ahead. I'm pushing bot lane, hoping for somebody to respond to me so that I can go and flank this Baron fight and give us a man advantage. And preferably somebody without teleport. I already know Renekton's there. He's not going to be the one responding to me. It's going to be somebody without teleport who's going to have to walk and follow me. I'm going to be a lot faster than everybody on enemy team besides maybe Lee Sin. Lee Sin might be a little bit fast, but I've got a Q that's on a 2 or 3 second cooldown, so I can just keep queuing and get to the fight faster. So we're going to get to this fight, and priority in this fight is just going to be taking out whoever is low enough, because my Q can one-shot Renekton, my Q can one-shot Milio right now, and then I want to focus on Cassiopeia afterwards. So we're coming in. He kind of just runs in. We just one-shot the Renekton, and then we have now flanked this team fight and made it the easiest fight ever. Made it the easiest fight ever. We stun Lee Sin with a Cassiopeia R, and this fight is just over. This fight is just over, and then it's game over from there. And it's all because we pulled pressure, flanked the fight, got a man advantage, and we used our mobility to get around the map. So constantly creating, constantly innovating different ways to make team fights be in our favor. And that is the beauty of Fiora. And there's so many different scenarios that we just looked at. And I mean, team fights are awesome, right? Team fights, no 5v5 is going to be the same. It's always different, and it's always super cool. And Fiora is awesome because every rep, every game that you play, and you get that little bit better with her, you see different openings. And it's also really important to go back and look at your team fights, because team fights, 5v5s don't happen as often as you think. 5v5s maybe happen 2, 3, 4 times a game, and you don't get as many reps on those team fights. So going back and looking at your VODs and actually seeing, what if I would have gone over this wall and flanked the ADC here? Or what if I just fought front to back and I just got rid of the Cho'Gath and got a healing circle for my team in this fight? So many things that you can look at, right? So this is not only is it a team fighting guide, but it's also a guide for you to coach yourself on how to improve your team fighting as well. And that is the team fighting guide video for Fiora. I really hope this video helps you out. It's just, Fiora is so much innovation. She's a very creative champion, very unique. Not a lot of champions can do what she does. The mobility is insane, and she can basically make team fights be in her favor at all times. So something to keep in mind, and we looked at 4 different scenarios, and I really would love to see you guys take this into your ranked games, improve your team fighting on Fiora, and get some LP. So hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace out. Love you. Bye-bye.